Mulberry Barbecue open Monday to Saturday from 11 a.m. to 8 p.m. at 11th and Cornhusker Highway, and now at 6125 Apples Way in South Lincoln.
Cupid, the messenger of love. That guy is totally undependable. This Valentine's Day, choose Petal Creations as your personal messenger of love. From designs that say, hey, I kind of like you, to you rock my world. We know how to create the perfect floral design sure to tell your Valentine how you really feel. We have so many design choices it will make your head spin. More importantly, they will make her head spin. PetalCreations.com or 423-6500. Stop in and see us at 56th and Highway 2 in the Edgewood Shopping Center.
Landmark Implement, your local John Deere dealership, is hosting their annual Planter Clinic at the Adams County Fairgrounds in Hastings, February 19th and 20th. This hands-on event offers expert training on John Deere planters and performance upgrades, covering topics such as new technology, in-cab monitors, maintenance points, and options to increase your operations profits. New this year, classes on autonomy preparation and exact shot. Don't miss Landmark's Planter Clinic, February 19th and 20th in Hastings. Learn more at landmarkimp.com/events.
In today's digital world, you can never be too cautious when it comes to your security. Cyber attacks are affecting more businesses every day. At Hamilton Business Technologies, we understand the stress and impact a cyber attack can have, not just on your bottom line, but on your ability to serve your customers and protect their trust. That's why we are passionate about safeguarding your business. From real-time threat monitoring to advanced security protocols, we help keep your data safe, allowing you to focus on what matters most. Hamilton Business Technologies. Real people, real technology solutions. Connect with us at hamiltonisbusiness.com.
Hey farmers, do you run a precision planting monitor in your planter tractor? Boyk Farm Outfitters is hosting our annual 2020 Monitor Clinic at the Holthus Center in York on Wednesday, March 19th. They'll run through everything on the monitor, from basic setup to more complex downforce settings and everything in between. You'll learn agronomy principles behind some of the monitor settings and will leave refreshed and ready to plant. Representatives from Precision Planting will be on hand to handle any questions that you can throw at them. Visit BoykFarmOutfitters.com for all the details and to reserve your spot.
Husker Hoops just wrapped up as Williams turns the corner, two more into the line, a chance for three. Bryce Williams. Hustle down to the block, post up, and go to work now on 93.7 The Ticket. And the offensive rebound, Berke Butunjel. The post-game post-up is sponsored by Action Plumbing, Heating, AC, and Electrical, and Lincoln Wall-to-Wall Wine and Spirits. Here's a CJ, same spot, Saberson. He is red hot. A CJ in ahead half court. Eulis could have it goes and it counts. Aaron Eulis with a half court three on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
All right, welcome in to the Husker Hoops post-game show. Harrison Arns, Eric Strickland to my left, and of course, we'll be joined as always by Austin Orman later once he's done with the press conference. Nebraska basketball, men's basketball falls short in this one, facing Maryland at home, 75-83. Real quick, once again, shout out our sponsors for making these things, or helping us make these things happen. Action Plumbing, Heating, AC, Electrical, and Lincoln Wall-to-Wall Wine and Spirits. Appreciate it. As always, go check those guys out. Eric Strickland, I just want to get your thoughts on it. The winning streak comes to an end.
Yeah, I mean, they do. You hate that it does at home. It's one of those games where you look at how this team played in the previous game when they were out in Maryland. Julian Reese only gets you 8 points. Has a pretty solid, he doesn't even get a double-double. He's usually a walking double-double, 4 blocks. And Derek Queen was basically irrelevant in this game. And a team that has the kind of success that they had in the way that they shot the ball tonight, when you go on the road and you have 5 guys in double figures, and I'm not talking about 5 guys in double figures that are low, and these guys played dang near the whole game. So
their bench took 2 shots all night.
Right? And listen,
you got beat by 5. We talked about
5
this last
guys. Time. And I'm not talking about the restaurant.
Now, if you had some of that might have. I won't go there.
5 guys literally played dang near the whole game, and there's a lot of stuff that I saw that it was a lot tougher for us than it was for them as far as execution, finishing, the one thing that they won, well, first of all, Queen and Reese both go for a double-double. They shoot 60, they shoot in this half 63%, and they were shooting over 60% for the game at around just under 10 minutes with 8 minutes left. They finished the game at 59%, 46 from three. They hit that magic marker. Over 70, Nebraska struggles. If a team gets over 70, that's a struggle for Nebraska. So they hit a lot of their metrics, and at home, you lose the 50-50 game, winning those 50-50 balls. Balls being thrown in your hand, it fumbles out. Steals in your hand, Morgan at the half court. Don't get it. It was a weird game. But they, look, they stayed in it. They fought. It was just one of those games where they didn't do enough to get over the hump. And every time Nebraska made a run at them, they hit a shot. And there's more that I can tell about that, and I'll share more about what they were able to do that we weren't in this game and why the outcome became what it was.
Yeah, and I think I think an idea. We talked a little bit on the end there.
Well, also 42 points in the paint, bro.
Yes.
Big, strong team like them. I mean, listen, I'm not even going to say they miss Buruptengel. I'm not going to say that. You did, because he's a versatile player.
He's a great defensive player.
Yeah,
and you knew someone's going to have to step up tonight.
Can handle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Didn't happen.
Morgan had a tremendous game. Give Mia and Morgan credit. Made free throws tonight. It's just that team shot 59%, 47% from three, 78% from the free throw line. They out-rebound you. They out-assist you. And everything else being equal, they did just more things. And a game where you really needed to push the tempo, they played 5 guys. That's where you've got to push tempo. You've got to make those guys
punish them for it.
You got to.
You want to be out here all day.
Think
about that again in the second half,
right?
When you've been out here for 38 straight minutes, we made it a track meet.
Yeah.
Yeah, Strick, I'm glad you're here for this. Like, what do you make of these games when it is a quote unquote perfect storm game? Because this is one of those things. Like we talked about the assist. It's really easy to get assists when your team's shooting lights out. I mean, every pass you make, it feels like you get assist. The rebounding, we talked about that as well. Definitely something they could have made that stat look better, but it's also one of those things. They're draining everything. You're just taking it out of the net. There's no rebound to be grabbed on the defensive side of things. When you're running into it was a buzzsaw tonight. That was Maryland in terms of just how efficient they were. What is it got to be to respond to that, just to get some sort of momentum halted? I mean, because the numbers. Like, yes, you're going to have teams that stay hot, but it did get to a point where they just looked really comfortable in their offense, and you could tell everything they were doing, they didn't have to second guess, and we couldn't throw them off out of sync whatsoever. And just through you, like, how do you break up that sync when you got Terrapins rolling in like that on fire?
Well, not only are they on fire, like the fact that they were shooting and playing this well,
the passing was good.
And you weren't. And you were still in this game, that's got to tell you something, right? Like Nebraska, only 43% for the game, 36 from three, shot way too many threes, I thought. 9 of 25. I thought.
Well, again, they're playing 5 guys.
Nebraska.
I'm talking about Maryland, though.
Oh, and you're playing 5 guys.
Get in the paint.
Attack the paint.
Yeah.
Foul trouble. There's a lot of stuff. But they had a really good plan. Switch. Our bigs initially they kind of get lost in this funny zone. Like they kind of figured it out with Worcester with a little back cut, couple guys with these, finding those dunk spot areas, layup areas. They finally kind of found something in that which got them back in the game. But our bigs, Morgan, they finally got to play to him, and he finally also figured out attack the body.
Yeah, getting fouls. He's getting
attack the body. Like, don't.
I didn't see a single fader from him.
Well, you saw that first one. That first fadeaway was an air ball. Like,
maybe I was lucky enough to be still doing a show.
Yeah, I think you were still doing a show when that happened.
But he is figuring out. Just give him some credit.
He did. He figured out.
Contact, get to
absorb the contact, get there, make your free throws, and it makes the game a lot easier. But the issue is a lot of that too is they don't have a way to use really Worcester in those situations. This game wasn't really a game for him. They don't really have a way to use Ulis. Bryce was not feeling well. He kind of was sick. Jawan played pretty good. Let's give him some credit. He was probably the only one on attack, and Essegian's a no-show. If you have that without Burukdengel, that's a recipe. And then Sam, anything he gives you is gravy. Great defense, but whatever he gives you on the offensive side is gravy. So they just didn't have enough extra to push them over the hump in this game.
Yeah, we got to go to break just to get the clock even here. Don't worry, we're not wrapping up the post-game show anytime soon yet. We still want to get Austin Orman into here, but we're going to throw it to break again. 402-464-5685. Love to get you guys' thoughts in here. Yes, Nebraska, the winning streak comes to an end versus ranked number 25 Maryland, who played the Huskers on the road. We'll keep talking about it here up next. Don't go anywhere. Husker Hoops post-game show.
Wall-to-Wall Wine & Spirits is your place in North Lincoln to go for all your needs in wine, spirits, and beer. They also have a large variety of cigars in their walk-in humidor, and they have a top-notch walk-in, temperature-controlled, high-end wine bar. Plus, you can enjoy free samples from their tasting book. There's only one place to go for all your needs for wine, beer, spirits, and cigars. Wall-to-Wall Wine & Spirits on North 27th Street in Lincoln.
At Action Plumbing, Heating, AC, and Electrical, we're ready, reliable, and recommended. Water heater acting up or your sump pump on the fritz? Call Action. Summer's around the corner. Is your AC working? Are you sure? Call Action. Electrical problems? I'm telling you, call Action. Call Action for a free same-day estimate or a trusted second opinion. You heard that right, a free same-day estimate. 402-423-6960. ActionLincoln.com.
Hi, it's Joel Norman, the voice of your Lincoln Stars hockey team. Tune in to 93.7 The Ticket to hear the latest on the Stars with myself, head coach Rocky Russo, and special player guests.
Cupid, the messenger of love. That guy is totally undependable. This Valentine's Day, choose Petal Creations as your personal messenger of love. From designs that say, hey, I kind of like you, to you rock my world. We know how to create the perfect floral design sure to tell your Valentine how you really feel. We have so many design choices it will make your head spin. More importantly, they will make her head spin. PetalCreations.com or 423-6500. Stop in and see us at 56th and Highway 2 in the Edgewood Shopping Center.
Gentlemen, Valentine's Day is just around the corner. Don't be that guy running to the store for flowers and a card on your way home. Hey, Rick Heyman here from Sartor Heyman Jewelers. We have great Valentine's gifts in store now. And if you spend $99, we'll throw in a free bouquet of a dozen roses. Give her what she really wants this year and let us do the rest. Sartor Heyman Jewelers, your hometown jeweler since 1905 in Lincoln and Grand Island. Online at sartorheyman.com.
Golfing in 72 degrees and perfect conditions in Nebraska doesn't seem possible in the winter, but it is. Double Eagle Golf is your escape from the bone-chilling cold outside and a reason to keep your clubs out year-round. Book a bay with some friends for a weekend or come by for golf and happy hour on a weekday. Spring leagues begin in February. Get signed up today. That's all at Double Eagle Golf inside the Kinetic Sports Complex at West O Street. Online at doubleeagle.golf.
Salt Mine City is not only Lincoln's newest brewery, but they're also now serving food. Enjoy a full menu of great items daily for lunch and dinner, like their peanut butter and jelly burger with bacon and cheddar cheese, or a Reuben sandwich served on Blackstone rye bread. Don't forget their beef or chicken nachos with guacamole, sour cream, jalapenos, and more. Wash it down with one of their 12 beers on tap, including the popular Single Axle Light American Lager. Salt Mine City, now open 11 a.m. every day but Mondays at 8th and R.
Step into healing at Prairie Orthopedic and Plastic Surgery. Our team of top-notch medical professionals turns pain into progress with state-of-the-art treatments and compassionate care. Visit prairieortho.com and discover the difference in quality orthopedic and plastic surgery services tailored to your unique needs. Your health matters, and Prairie Orthopedic and Plastic Surgery is dedicated to helping you thrive. Reach your full potential. Embrace a better tomorrow with Prairie Orthopedic and Plastic Surgery.
A new year means it's time to try new things. If you haven't tried Fierce Cheese Spread yet, the time is now. For the days you don't want to go to the gym, don't worry. Fierce Cheese Spread is there to cheer you up. And for the days you do get to the gym, why not celebrate when you get back with the best dip around? Get to your local grocery store today and load up on Fierce Cheese Spread. No event or party is complete without it on your table.
Automotive Solutions is Lincoln's one-stop shop for all your vehicle needs, from vinyl wraps to engine repair and maintenance. Automotive Solutions offers fleet services, as well as printing and graphic design for vinyl applications, plus installation of vinyl for boats, trucks, cars, and anything else you want wrapped. Perfection is their standard, and they never settle for less. Call today at 531-249-5600 or go to automotivesolutionslincoln.com to learn more. That's Automotive Solutions, 2024 Southwest 5th Street in Lincoln.
Dance like a dad. It's a great way to make a moment with your kids. First, I hold my hands out like they're on a steering wheel. Then I look over my shoulder. Next, I put it in reverse. Visit fatherhood.gov. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
Hey, it's me, your cell phone. We need to talk about something serious. I know you love me. I know you like using me wherever you are, but I feel like this isn't working out when you're driving. I know you may think that it's possible to focus both on me and the road, but I just don't feel the same way. I think we should spend time away from each other when you're driving. It's for the best.
Visit StopTextStopWrecks.org. A message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, and the Ad Council.
This is Lincoln's home for sports talk on the FM dial. Also online at theticketfm.com. On the internet, KNTK FM Firth, 93.7 The Ticket.
Here it is. We're back on the postgame show. Thank you guys for keeping it and staying with us. Tough night for the Huskers tonight. Huskers come up short against the number 17th ranked Maryland Terrapins tonight, 83-75. And, you know, listen, let's just be honest about it, Harrison. Maryland did what they had to do. When you look at the standings, Maryland's 6th right now. A loss for them, you know, it keeps them in the middle of the pack. They're still 2 games ahead of who's behind them in Illinois right now. They're still close to even winning the conference. They're only 2 games away. This is what you have to do if you're a team not only looking to improve on your seed, you're a ranked team. This is an opportunity for you to get a quad 1 win to make that increase. It keeps you above board as far as your placing of trying to get into the Big Ten and have that bye and all of that stuff. And that's the opportunity they're looking at. Nebraska's looking at it from a different perspective. They're trying to climb the ladder, put themselves in position, and they're not able to accomplish that tonight. Maryland played well. They did what they were supposed to do. It seemed like they had a game plan. They executed it, and they played as a unit. That's what hints 5 guys in double figures with Queen going for 24. So that's one of those things when you look at what it means to try to position yourself in the standings or to position yourself for NCAA opportunities in March. Okay. Nebraska's just not there yet. It just things look hard for Nebraska. Good teams, it gets hard for them. Any team that gets over 75, they're in a dogfight. It comes down to the little things at that point. They made free throws, so it wasn't that. They missed the 50-50 balls. That's an issue because that's what you've got to win. At home, you've got to win. Now, guys are sick. Is that an excuse? I understand.
It's one of those where it's like, is it fair? No. But Jordan did it.
But you're out there.
The great figure out a way.
That's what I'm talking about.
Is it fair to compare to Jordan? No, but I mean, where there's a will, there's a way, and I honestly don't know the severity of it.
And you got to dig deep. You got to figure what am I trying to accomplish here? What do I got to do? I've got to dig deep.
Yeah, you got to.
It looked too hard. It looked difficult. Whereas on the other side, when Maryland needed a bucket, it got tight. 2 points. You're down 2. I mean, Nebraska got it to 4, 3, 2, multiple times. Right? At home, momentum swinging your way.
Crowds getting into it.
Maryland takes somebody off the dribble, downhill. Maryland shoots, Julian Reese rebound. Another opportunity. Maryland needs something. Guy crosses somebody up to the basket, finish. It was like, that's what they were getting. On the other side, hard. Big shot Bryce. Hard. Jawan lean in floater.
Yeah.
Not an easy floor. I'm talking about
he was fading back.
Hard. Good spin, falling, foul. Make 2 free throws from an unexpected guy. Like, that's what it was like for Nebraska.
Yeah, it's a good way to put it. I mean, like, what's the, scrub away what was perfect tonight from, I believe, Mia and Morgan out there on the free throw line.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just, man, this isn't like one of those losses where you just like completely question the entire program and our head coach. But we're still clearly at a point where, for me, it's annoying. Apologies if you guys are sick of hearing it, but we're still short offensively. You mentioned it before, right? If Connor Season isn't having a good day, where's that other chunk of offense? Where's it going to come from? For a while there, maybe it could have been Andrew Morgan. Maybe it could have been Burke. There's just not enough consistency there for Fred Hoiberg, to have a confident offensive game plan where he just doesn't really know who's going to have the hot hand tonight. When you're Maryland, it's pretty easy to dial up. Okay, what does Reese want to do here? What does Queen want to do here? He knows these guys. These guys know how to get open. It's quick downhill to the rim. Nebraska, if you're Fred Hoiberg, just think about how hard it is to put this offense together. You know what Bryce likes to do. Juwan Gary's athletic, but you do have a lot of pieces. Even a guy, we bring in Griffiths. Everyone's a little excited in him. We're struggling to fit these guys into a role where they can just at least be, a somewhat net negative or net positive on the offensive end of the court, and they're not quite there defensively. And then we get back to, if we don't, keep a team from scoring 75 points or under, we just don't seem to have the offense to keep up with teams.
Yeah, so now you find yourself in a situation, you miss out on a quad 1 opportunity at home. And so what do you have? What's left? What's in store for you? You now have to go to Evanston and face, let's see here. What do they got? What's their schedule? Let me see.
The Northwestern is that they got Michigan, Penn State. This the only ranked.
So they go to Northwestern.
They do have is Michigan.
They go to Northwestern. That's a quad 1. They have 5 quad 1 opportunities, a quad 2 in Iowa and a quad 3 in Minnesota. All right. So you go out there, you got to fight. This team is on par with you. You got to figure out where you want to be. You got to go out there and try to get that one. Penn State, also a quad 1 opportunity on the road. You got to go out there and try to get it. You've shown you can win on the road when you went out west, Washington and Oregon. You're going to have to put that together. Michigan is tough. They're playing great basketball right now. But they're at home. You got to figure out a way to try to get that. Then you drop to a quad 3 with Minnesota, and then a quad 1 against Ohio State at Ohio State. So you've got 5 opportunities to get quad 1 wins. You've got a lot of quad 1 wins now, but that's you out of those quads. I think if you want to put yourself in a good position, you got to get about 3 or 4 of those.
And real quick, Eric and Lincoln, I think me and Strickland both agree with you. Said this multiple times. I get where you're coming from. You lost to a top 25 team. Our resume this year is still way better than what our resume was last year. Not a bad loss. Every loss is a bad loss. All right. I get that. I get that.
Come on. You can't do that.
I don't care. Try to win every damn game. No, I get it's a ranked opponent.
The problem was
gonna hurt?
The problem was you lost 6.
Yes.
That's where you put yourself in trouble. If you don't lose those 6, Hey, you lose a couple, okay.
Mm-hmm.
But when you lose 6 in a row, you put yourself at danger. Now, so you can't say.
Well, you're just leaving
and you don't you're leaving opportunities on the table.
And you're putting it on
and they're
the
coming
future.
at home. Exactly.
You don't
that's
want
dangerous.
Yeah, you don't want to ever be betting, your likelihood of making a deep season run on the future. And this isn't to say every time we lose to a ranked opponent, we should all get up in arms and be really upset. No, I'm just never going to accept it was a quote unquote good loss. I don't know what the hell that means. I don't think that should ever be a thing echoed within any of the Husker locker rooms. I don't care what program.
Yeah, we're not down on them. I mean,
no.
They're playing. They scrapped. I mean, because that easily
shot.
could have been a 20-point loss.
Yeah.
Like, I'm going to be honest. A team that shoots that good in your home.
What'd you say? 60% at the end of?
Yes.
Yeah.
It was sick. They were over 60% with just under 8 minutes to go.
Mm-hmm.
So Eric, they still end up with almost 60% shooting. So that means you know, in those type of games, your issue is you can't trade baskets.
Yeah, absolutely.
So there was a lot of trading. Then they make a run, and they're just not able to get over the hump because Maryland makes a great play. A guy drive that. So we're telling you just the little details on what differentiates Nebraska's, season and team from other teams, and why, and they can tell you why they're where they are.
Uh-huh.
Because when it's time to get a bucket, a basket, an opportunity, they can get that easier than we can. So we have to play better. We have to do things more. We have to rebound and play solid. We can't, like, there was a stretch where we were right there. We could have made a run on them, and we turned the ball over 3 straight times.
Oh, well, we had some steals go right through our hands as well.
Too.
You know?
Yeah.
Like some of them, it wasn't even a turnover, but I mean,
yeah,
should have been because you had it. And then you did it. It's just like right through your hands. You just didn't touch it. And again, like, with this Husker team, we pointed it out. They got a lot of quad 1 games left on their schedule. They could definitely make a run. They're sitting in a decent spot. Don't get me wrong. I mean, think about how we all felt after, 6 games in a row, straight losses. I'm not sure anybody had a real good idea on what this team's ceiling is. But where I'm at, they fought hard. You played a team that damn near shot 60% until you really start getting towards late in the game, and you were right there with them. You give credit for them fighting, the rebounds. Again, a team shooting the ball that well, there's not going to be a lot of defensive rebounds out there. Hustle plays, a little upset about that part. There's a few we definitely should have got. You mentioned that with the turnovers. But for me, once again, it just comes to where's that other offense going to come from, and where is it going to come from consistently? It has to be consistent. Yeah. Otherwise, whatever you say about Fred Hoiberg, it's very hard for a coach like that to try to figure out where he's going to get his points from when this guy is just, when you have multiple guys on your team that are your Jeff Greens.
Right.
That's a hard thing to dial up. Strickland, with that being said, I'm not seeing Austin Orman yet. Kind of on a rant there with Husker basketball. 402-464-5685. We'll get any of you guys' last second comments in here. If you want to, we got Eric and Lincoln in here. Hope that's the last time we have to play against Queen. That's a dude.
He's going to be
even
a pro.
Though he feels it. Eric and Lincoln, absolutely. Me and Strickland were talking about that. He had that one crazy finish going down the lane where he had no business making it. But then you realize throughout the course of his college career, no, you might think that was a garbage make. He's just kind of got that soft touch to it.
Yeah, he's going to be a pro.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he's a skilled big man. He probably would need to get a little bit more physical, and his stretch would need to. He can shoot, but he would probably need to extend a little bit more. But his ability to create space. He's got a great handle in traffic, hesitation moves with. He's crafty. He's really crafty for a big man. I'm actually impressed with his game.
When you're watching centers like that too, it's just nice to see forward centers, any of those positions. It's nice to see when they have that nice control around the rim, where it almost just looks like they're just floating it up there. We've seen centers in the past here, multiple, all throughout college basketball, even in the NBA, you'll see it, like a guy like Rudy Gobert. You'll be like, man, can you just learn one good move or get a little bit of touchdown? Like, everything's got to be power and just try to bang it in there all the time. It's like when you have an advantage, you got a size like that. You figure out a soft touch. I mean, that's why people like Jokic become absolutely unstoppable, because they're just able to create those angles. And yeah, I'll be happy when Queen's gone out of Rutgers too, because he's been a hard guy to beat year after year. Eastrick, What do you got for us? I'm not seeing Austin Norman yet here. And you guys keep joining in here. I'm going to keep going as long as we got these comments here rolling in.
Yeah, that's fine. I'm just I'm hoping they can go on the road and get one or two of these wins. I don't think they're in a position where they can afford another streak.
No, I mean, they can't. There's not a lot of games left to get your confidence back if you start slipping.
Yeah, and it easily puts you in an NIT potential bid, and it's such a jumble position wise that Penn State's coming up and they're 3-9. You could literally be back out of the Big Ten tournament with just a couple of losses. Like that's how close everything is, man. You know what I'm saying? It's wild to think about.
Well, that's why we talk about this all the time.
It's a hodgepodge right there. That this is why this is why when you get home games, you got to take care of them.
You stole from it. I was like, we talk about this all the time.
You got to take care of home.
And I don't care what conference
that team
you're
was
in.
2-5 on the road.
Yes. Now, I don't care what conference you're in. When it comes to college basketball, you cannot smell your own stuff.
Yeah.
As soon as you do that, there is an imminent loss heading your way. It is bizarre. But like there's not enough separation in college basketball. There isn't. And it's going to get more and more like that as the years go by. That's how you see the guy out of Oakland last year, Golke, just rain down hell from the perimeter and actually make some noise in March Madness. Like the way that the basketball has grown, the way that NIL is dispersed, it's just getting that much more hard to develop programs that are that much better where you can just walk into some games and walk away with a win.
And these two teams are at the bottom. The next two teams you're going to face are below you.
And you better still think in there that you're going to have to fight and claw to rip that thing away on the road.
Yeah.
I'll ask you this, kind of a broad question. Do you just believe him? Do you believe in this team being able to pull it off before the year's all said and done, making it to March Madness again? I want to ask you about winning a game in the tournament, but just making it there. You see it as a likelihood.
Schedule.
Yeah. The reason I ask that is like I do see it.
I see there's potential. I do see that there's potential to do it.
I see a broken railing on the road too, though.
But again, it's like most teams are going to shoot that way against you. We saw what happened first half. The first half against the first half against Washington. They were freaking on fire. Like they were 7 for 7 from 3. Like they were on fire.
Mm-hmm.
And they come back out and lay an egg the second half. So you're going to get teams. It's very rare that you get a team like what Maryland did to consistently shoot that high of a clip the whole game.
Yeah, well,
it happens.
It happens. And lucky enough for Austin Norman, he got to watch it all right there happen live in person. Austin Norman, we'll bring you into the Husker Hoops post-game show now. Just so you're informed, this is our last segment. We'll keep it going as long as we want here. Thoughts on the game, Austin Norman?
Yeah, a lot like the one out in College Park, right, where Maryland looked like the more talented team pretty much from start to finish. Similar in that Nebraska didn't necessarily play terribly. It was probably a better performance from Nebraska at home than it was out on the road in College Park. Maryland was just a little bit better pretty much from start to finish. The difference tonight was Derek Queen had a better game, right? A second straight 20-10 game for him. He was a beast. He dominated. Julian Reese certainly made an impact. And you don't want to downplay those guys. I mentioned this to a couple people on Media Row, mentioned it to Stricky when I saw him. To me, though, the biggest issue for Nebraska in this one was Maryland's guards, especially Jacoby Gillespie. In that first half, when it seemed like Maryland was scoring at will, it's because Nebraska couldn't fight through screens, wouldn't go under screens, and really couldn't because Gillespie's got a flamethrower, right? He was hot. He is a fantastic shooter. He ends up 6 of 11 overall, 3 of 5 from three-point range. It's the 7 assists, though, and I don't think that even measures the impact that he made in controlling the game and getting Maryland set up for success, right? Because Nebraska was so far behind Gillespie when Maryland would screen for him, sometimes a double screen, right, where they would have a shooter screen for him first, then a big man. That's two bodies, two pretty good-sized guys there, and Maryland certainly took advantage of it. It was Gillespie getting into the paint, getting a paint touch, firing a nice pass out back to the perimeter. I mean, Maryland made 6 threes in the first half, couple of them open, couple of them deep, couple of them contested. Nebraska adjusted a little bit in the second half on the perimeter. Maryland goes only 1 of 4, but at that point it was almost too late. So credit Maryland. They were the better team from start to finish, a little more talented. But at the end of the day, it was a gutty performance by Nebraska. Would have liked to have had this one. Credit Nebraska for fighting, certainly things to clean up. Not a disappointing loss by any means, but I think it does continue the trend of Nebraska not being able to get that one key stop or that one key bucket. Fred Hoiberg brought that up in post game as well. He said it was just like the game at College Park, is that despite, Maryland's post going off, despite Jacoby Gillespie controlling the game, despite another 3 made 3-pointers from Selton Miguel and a couple big Rodney Rice buckets from here and there, Nebraska was in position. Nebraska took a really good team's best shot, was there, and just couldn't string really 3 possessions in a row together, either going score, stop, score to get it tied, or stop, score, stop, and then have the ball and a chance to take the lead. Nebraska on 4 or 5 different occasions was really just 1 possession away from really making things interesting. If Bryce Williams hits that 3 that's halfway down and out to bring Nebraska back within 1, that's a completely different last minute of that game. It doesn't fall down. Maryland hits a couple free throws. Bryce gets another look at it, didn't really have much of a chance. Nebraska was close against a good team. Nebraska had opportunities to, I don't know if I want to say win the game, but certainly make that one come down to the wire a little bit more than it did. Ends up in an 8-point win for the Terps. Didn't really feel like an 8-point game. It felt like Maryland controlled it. Felt like it should have been, a 1.5, maybe 2 possession win for Maryland. Credit the Huskers, credit the Terps. Pretty darn good basketball game all around.
Austin Norman, real quick, and then I'll let Strick ask you a question as well. You might have already mentioned it, but did you hear anything from Hoiberg about any flu or symptoms or people out there that were struggling through illness?
Yeah, the 2 big ones were Bryce Williams and Connor Essegian. Fred, we'll talk about Essegian first here. Essegian ends the night with no points on 6 shots, 0 of 4 from 3. Had a couple that looked pretty good. They hit a couple parts of the rim and just didn't go down. Would have been huge for Nebraska, who doesn't shoot poorly on the night. They were 9 of 22 until a few late attempts they had to take to end up at a solid and respectable 36%. Essegian had one pretty nice tap out that led to points for Nebraska. I don't know if he gets credit for the offensive rebound or not, but Fred Hoiberg said that's a guy that really didn't look like himself, said his face was pretty flush, didn't go through film or shoot around this morning with how he was feeling. But this is where I think a lot of credit is due to Bryce Williams, who still found a way to make an impact. Bryce Williams does have 20 points on the night, as well as 2 rebounds and 3 assists. I wasn't very impressed with Bryce Williams in the early going, right? It looked like a guy that was a little rattled by the flu, had a couple kind of soft turnovers, honestly. Didn't catch the ball, made a lazy pass for one of them, and that's a very good look. Yeah, he had 8 points on perfect shooting in the first half, at least for a while, but Bryce really picked it up in the second half. I know 5 of 13 doesn't look pretty, but I really think halftime was good for Bryce Williams. He played better basketball. I really thought that the sickness showed up for him on the defensive end, standing up, a little bit of a step slow. Number one, guarding on the ball, which has kind of been an issue for Bryce anyways, but especially off the ball. He got beat a couple times when he's supposed to be the help man rotating over. That looked more mental than anything, a guy that's just trying to do everything he can to battle through, stay on the floor, be there for his team. Hit a couple big shots late. Defensive lapses led to, 6-8 points for Maryland. But that's a guy who didn't really sleep last night, who came in before the game to get an IV, dealing with chills and aches and fatigue, Fred Hoiberg said. And he plays 39 minutes in the game. More than Juwan Gary, who was Nebraska's best player in the first half with 38 minutes. We knew going down the stretch that Nebraska would have to get everything it could out of Bryce Williams and Juwan Gary. Nebraska asked a lot out of Bryce tonight. Not perfect, but given the circumstances, I think it's understandable that Bryce Williams played the way he did. Ultimately, for Bryce Williams in Nebraska, it's the same thing. Gutty, competed, just a little bit short at the end of the day.
Yeah.
So
Looking
here-
gutty
here-
out there for the fan base right now, walking through the cold after that loss. Strickland, go ahead.
Here's something to think about though, Austin. Like you look at this team, they're one of the only teams, and I want to say it might be Duke or Kentucky. Kentucky, that's another one that has had 5 guys in double figures just one less time than they have, right? But literally, and I teased Harrison over here. I said they have 5 guys, and I'm not talking about the restaurant, where 37 minutes for Gillespie, 39 minutes for Rice, 34 minutes for Miguel, 37 minutes for Reese, and 36 minutes for Queen. And we didn't attack them like I thought we should have. I thought when they did last game, pushing that ball, Austin, and really doing a good job of getting opportunities in the second wave of the offense. Didn't really see that tonight. You think you attribute that to the flu, not having the depth of Berukton gel. What do you see? Because they literally let them off the hook, I think, with letting 5 guys play that amount of minutes without wearing them out.
There's a lot there. I tweeted this out at one point during the game. Earlier in the week, I saw this from CBB Analytics on Twitter. Maryland gets the 10th fewest points per game from its bench, averaging about 15.9 points per game in the 20th percentile nationally, which is obviously really bad. Maryland's bench combined to play 17 minutes tonight, only took 2 shot attempts, right? Maryland has been riding its starting 5 pretty much all year. That continued here tonight. In that first game in College Park, it was Jordan Geronimo coming off the bench, making a little bit of an impact with Derek Queen struggling. Where I think you're right, Strick, is that with Jacoby Gillespie being the primary driver, the engine of that offense, Nebraska didn't have a point guard that could go downhill consistently, either get Gillespie in foul trouble or make him guard over screens consistently. Right? He was on Bryce Williams, he was on Raleigh Wooster, Aaron Eulis, Sam Hoiberg a little bit, and Nebraska just didn't have to make him exert much effort defensively. So there's that. You look at Derek Queen, who finishes the game with 4 fouls. Nebraska wanted to go at him. They liked their matchup with Andrew Morgan, just like they did in College Park. Andrew Morgan was someone that Fred Hoiberg shouted out, thought Nebraska really found something with him, except Morgan got whistled for a couple ticky-tack fouls. So Nebraska couldn't go back to that, couldn't go at Queen, didn't have to make him expend nearly as much effort on the defensive end because of potentially Morgan's foul trouble. You look at guys like Miguel and Rice, who do play heavy minutes quite a bit for this team. They're role guys. They're the primary on-ball defenders. They're lengthy. So credit Maryland for being in shape. But again, it goes back to, I think, Strick, a lot of what we've said is that because Nebraska doesn't have, 3 offensive threats on the floor outside of, really being set up in prime position, let alone 5, that's a big difference. And that a lot of teams don't always have to expend the most amount of energy on defense. It doesn't run their legs on that end. There's not as much contact from Nebraska. A lot of contact tonight was initiated by Maryland, and you're going to be able to win the energy battle, if you want to call it that, if you're the one that's dealing out the punishment, if you're the team that's being more physical and initiating contact. And that's been an issue for Nebraska all year. That hasn't necessarily changed. At the end of the day, Strick, I do think this really highlights the difference between what Maryland is and what Nebraska wants to be, because we saw Nebraska stick with a 2-big lineup for much of the year. Maryland played those 2 bigs in Reese and Queen together quite a bit of the time. And when Geronimo is in, there's the other big. He's not exactly a floor spacing threat. What Maryland showed, and it's going to be different from Michigan, who will be Nebraska's next home game on Monday the 24th. What Maryland showed is that there is a way to thrive offensively with 2 relatively traditional big men in the game, but you need legitimate, consistent contributions from the rest of your guys around the perimeter, right? Nebraska doesn't have a Jacoby Gillespie. Nebraska's point guards don't handle the ball like that. They certainly don't shoot it like that. Nebraska's role guys, their wings off the ball, number 1, aren't the same size, and number 2, aren't nearly as consistent from beyond the 3-point line as Maryland's guys are. So you can see some similarities between these teams. Nebraska didn't play Morgan and Mia together much, if at all, tonight. So being down size-wise contributes to Maryland just murking Nebraska on the glass, which, 34-22, not great. Nebraska does actually end up with more second chance points than Maryland does. But I do think that because Nebraska didn't have those consistent offensive threats on the perimeter, especially, that was going to be their advantage tonight, making it rain a little bit from long range, making Maryland's big step out and guard, creating space. But because Nebraska really, point guards, their ones and their twos, don't consistently threaten defenses, it makes life easier for everyone Nebraska faces on defense, which then is able to, they can rack up the minutes because they're high level Big Ten basketball minutes. But, sometimes you get more tired playing 28 physical minutes than you do playing 36 or 37. Yeah, I'm just playing basketball minutes.
Yeah, definitely. Their big men were just really just camping. It was like they went down to the local campground by the lake, Camp Crystal Lake. Right. It was Friday the 13th for Nebraska. And Jason Voorhees was just he was slow walking them down when they were running. So it was just one of those type of games, my boy.
It was. And that's something else that Fred Hoiberg pointed out. Is that Maryland did a pretty good job in getting out in transition, taking advantage of opportunities there. Nebraska just didn't have many transition opportunities because they couldn't get that key stop. And, because Maryland did. They forced some Nebraska rush shots. They were able to get out, get easy baskets, not have to grind through a shot clock. And it worked out better for the Terps at the end of the day than it did Nebraska.
Absolutely. And with that being said, we'll have to go ahead and get out of here. Appreciate you guys listening, as always, to the Husker Hoops post-game show. We'll catch you after the next game. Appreciate it. Have a great rest of your night.
At Action Plumbing, Heating, AC, and